You're lying in bed. It's 3 a.m. You've been asleep for 4 hours and now you're just awake, staring at the ceiling, wide awake, for no reason at all. Your brain has decided this is the perfect time to replay something embarrassing you said 10 years ago. You check the time and you do the math, calculating exactly how much sleep you're not going to get. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a familiar panic starts creeping in. Why am I awake? Something must be wrong with me, because everybody knows a normal, healthy adult is supposed to sleep 8 hours straight, right? Well, here's the thing nobody tells you. You're not broken. You might actually be doing the most natural, ancient, deeply human thing your body knows how to do. Because the 8-hour block of sleep you think is normal might be a complete historical accident. For most of human history, waking up at midnight wasn't a disorder. It was the schedule. So let's go back. Way back. Before mattresses, before alarm clocks, before sleep apps, for hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors slept outside, in caves or in simple shelters, with one enormous difference from you. When the sun went down, the world went completely dark. No streetlights, no screens, no glowing rectangles. The only light after sunset was fire, the moon, and the stars. And in winter, that darkness could last 14 hours. 14 hours is nearly twice as long as anyone can actually sleep. So here's the question nobody seems to ask. Do you really think ancient humans slept 14 hours straight? Of course not. Nobody sleeps that long. So what did they do with all that darkness? The answer comes from a historian named Roger Ekirch. He spent years digging through old diaries, court records, and medical texts from the centuries before electric light. And he kept finding the same strange phrase over and over again, the first sleep, followed pages later by another phrase, the second sleep. People mentioned it casually the way you'd mention breakfast. Nobody explained it because everyone already knew, which is exactly why it got forgotten. And once you know the phrase, it shows up everywhere. It's in Homer's Odyssey, written almost 3,000 years ago. It's in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales in the 14th century. It's in Dickens and doctors' manuals and old peasant sayings. Court records even mention witnesses who saw crimes after their first sleep. For centuries, the two-sleep night was so ordinary that literally nobody thought it needed explaining. So here's how it actually worked. People fell asleep shortly after dark for about 4 hours. That was the first sleep of the night. Then, around midnight, they naturally woke up and stayed awake for 1 to 2 hours. On purpose. This wasn't tossing and turning in frustration. This was a real, active, genuinely pleasant window of the night. People prayed, they talked quietly, they tended the fire. Some visited neighbors. Some just lay there thinking about their dreams. Couples, let's just say, made good use of the privacy. There were even medical books giving advice on what to do during this midnight hour. For many, it was the most peaceful hour of the whole day. And when they grew tired again, they drifted into the second sleep until dawn. Now think about that for a second. The middle of the night wake-up that makes you feel defective was, for most of history, just Tuesday. And when scientists finally tested this, the results were startling. In the 1990s, a psychiatrist named Thomas Ware ran an experiment. He put regular, healthy people in 14 hours of darkness every single night for a month. No lamps, no screens, nothing. A world before light bulbs. After a few weeks, something remarkable happened. Their sleep quietly split itself in two. A first sleep, a calm, quiet gap, a second sleep. Their bodies reinvented the exact pattern from those old diaries without being told a single thing about it. The pattern was still in there, it had just been buried, and the volunteers described that midnight gap as unusually calm. It felt almost meditative. Not panic. Peace. So what happened? Why don't we sleep like this anymore? The answer, in one word, is light. When gas lamps and electric bulbs spread through cities, humans could cheaply banish the night for the first time ever. Evenings stretched longer and longer into the night. People pushed bedtime later and crammed their sleep into one desperate block before work. Because the industrial world needed workers awake at a fixed hour on a clock, productive, no excuses. A leisurely one. AM chat by the fire simply didn't fit a factory schedule. Within 2 generations, the two-sleep night wasn't just gone. It was erased so completely from memory that when people started waking at night again, doctors gave it a name and called it a disease. But this goes deeper than schedules. Because ancient sleep was almost never alone. One person, one bed, one quiet, dark room. By historical standards, that's deeply bizarre. Our ancestors always slept in groups, families, sometimes whole households, piled together for warmth, for comfort, and for safety. And that solved a genuinely deadly problem. When you sleep in the open, in a world full of lions and hyenas, someone being awake is what keeps everyone alive. Researchers studying the Hadza people of Tanzania found something remarkable. Grandparents woke early, their teenagers stayed up late. Light sleepers stirred at every sound. And because everyone's rhythm was slightly different, someone was almost always at least half awake. Across an entire night, the moments when every single person was asleep at the same time added up to just a few minutes. Scientists called it the poorly designed grandparent theory. Except it isn't poorly designed at all. Those mismatched sleep schedules your family argues about may have kept our species alive for 100,000 years. So let's put it all together. Our ancestors slept in 2 shifts, with a peaceful waking hour in the middle, huddled in groups whose staggered rhythms meant someone was always watching the dark. Flexible, social, tuned to the sun. No alarms, no panic. Nobody lying alone in the dark, quietly wondering if they were broken. And then, in the blink of an evolutionary eye, we went and traded all of it away for a rigid block, alone, in a room lit until midnight by a glowing rectangle. Which brings us back to you, 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, convinced that something is wrong with you. But maybe, just maybe, nothing is wrong. Maybe that quiet hour in the dark is an inheritance. For thousands of years, that was the hour your ancestors talked softly, held someone close, and watched the embers slowly breathe. Your body still remembers a schedule the modern world told it to forget. So the next time you wake in the deep middle of the night, don't panic. Just lie there for a moment, in the oldest room in human history, the quiet dark between 2 sleeps. You're not awake because you're broken. You're awake because you're human.